I'm going to show you in today's video how to build out an AI system that can actually help you on a day-to-day basis. So what we're going to be using is Antigravity with Cloud Code built in, obviously Reddit and Notion. So the reason for Notion is going to allow us to update all the information onto it. So if any of you are following along or interested in following along, I'll give a breakdown of this video inside the library of my community. Again, if you're interested in joining, link is below, all free to join. So with all that done and dusted, let's jump straight on over to. We want to find threads that are actually interesting. So for me, for this example, and what I built it out on was small businesses, entrepreneurs, I think marketing, a few different subreddits like that. So the idea here is to get new comments, new posts, new threads that are popping off, and seeing can we target content based on the problems that people are having. So again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to reduce all the potential, self-posting threads that people put up or posts that they put up, but what we want to do is focus on potential problems. This straight away is going to give us an opportunity, because if there's one person out there is suffering with some sort of problem in obviously their own business, there's more than likely hundreds and thousands of other people in the exact same position. So not only now are you creating content that focuses on your ideal target audience, which is obviously small business owners in my case, you're also creating content based on pain points and problems. So with that, what we do is we jump over here to Antigravity, and I'm going to quickly kind of go through the entire process here of what I've done, and then what I'll do is I'll prompt it to pretty much get it to run. Again, I have no idea about coding. There's probably stuff in here that could be done much better and different by other people, but as I said, this is the best I can do. And for me, using anti-gravity is allowing me to build tools that I actually use and take full advantage of AI, because so many people out there are talking about AI and they say AI can do this, that, and the other thing. And yeah, some of the things are unreal what people can do, but at the end of the day, if you can't implement it into your business on a day-to-day, and the end goal is to reduce the amount of time you spend doing work, then realistically it's not any point. And for me personally, it's no point. So what I've done here is, for the AI assistant, this file pretty much is ready to drag and drop into your own anti-gravity, and from there it'll build it out to the way you need it. So there'll be certain questions that you'll be asked on. There'll be different points that obviously the questions that you'll be asked, different scenarios for your business. So with this in mind, what we've done here is we have the entire breakdown, and it goes through the different layers. So again, I've seen enough of this online now that this seems to be the best way to set up your entire system, the 3-layer system. Again, I think one of the key things here is handling errors and able to understand and learn and pretty much problem solve without you kind of having to go back and forth through different things. Now, just an FYI here, I suppose the key thing to remember is that this is done through Notion, and obviously I'm not sure, I'm on a paid plan. I think it's a $10 or €10 a month, and I have Cloud Code, which is again I think 20 euros a month, and they're the only two expenses. But again, just to let you know, I'm not using API access through it. I'm connecting it through I think it's a JSON files, which is allowing me to kind of gather the information. So with that in mind, what we do is we jump further into it. It goes through the architect. So it goes through here the structure, how we're going to lay out the project. Again, you have your different files, your env files. And this is one thing to just bear in mind, that this is in reference to likes of your Notion API connection, your if you have cloud connected through API, these are things that you don't share. Again, this is the Gemini file that is referring to. So this is pretty much a markdown that I have of the architect, and again, I'm after getting this online. I don't know who I got it from, but you see a lot of YouTubers talking about the same thing, and I think I could have got it on Twitter somewhere along the line. So with that, you grab that, it breaks down the entire setup here. Operating principles it goes through, again, gives you information on that. So this is pretty much where it starts to work with you. And if you're inputting this, again, it asks you what industry you're in, who's your target audience, what is your main content topics, pillars, how would you describe your brand and voice. Again, these could be files you could upload information, again, to further enhance what AI gives you. And the thing about it then is what's starting to happen now is it's starting to get an understanding of what you do, which in turn is going to allow you to get a much better understanding of what probably subreddits you can actually look in. There's no point if you're in my case, business, marketing, AI, there's no point in me putting me into another area that's focused on something like construction, because I said I don't do that anymore, so it's pointless. So with that, the next step then is we go through Notion. Now with Notion, to two things I'm supposed to remember here with Notion is, number one is you have to make sure that in Notion, this is your kind of your database code. So, or their database. So if it wants to connect to this actual site or this actual database, that's the code you need. So if you're looking for obviously the information on Notion, the first thing first is up there in the URL. You can't see it on my screen, but more than likely with Notion on a dashboard, a sheet, you'll have notion.so / two numbers, a load of different numbers, question mark V or something like that equals. So you pretty much get to just before the equal sign, I think it is, and that's your database API, I suppose, that you would connect. And you would also just have to connect your Notion up here in the top right, go down to connections and make sure you're connected here to Antigravity, and that's pretty much it. I've done that once for Antigravity, and pretty much I allow it then to connect to whenever I have a different dashboard or database that it wants to connect to. So that is probably the key thing with Notion. Again, this entire prompt is kind of built out that it kind of goes through this with through stages with this with you. So we then move on. Obviously here we have the integration, give it a name, blah blah blah, goes through all that stuff, and then it comes down to here. This is probably a key one here, is to making sure your columns are all set up right. Again, all you're making sure, this is the pain point and the title. You have category and a select, and that's pretty much this one here, category. You just connect it up here, click connect, and that is pretty much it. There's nothing else to do here. So you have the options here. You can edit property, change the type. We want to make sure it's at select. We want to make sure the word is exactly as is mentioned there. What can happen is that even if you have category and a space at the end of it, that's the problem. So you need to make sure that's 100%. So I prefer just double click it, copy it over and paste. That's it. Don't put another space in or around it because it won't work for you. Then what it does, it obviously automatically runs it, integrates to your database, gets all the information from it. So you can see here some of the information there. Your database, it looks something like this. Notion, your workspace. That's the key thing, is your workspace. And pretty much that goes through the whole lot of it. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm not going to input, I don't think there's anything else here for me to input. It will ask you about subreddits that you're interested in. So again, subreddits where to scrape, and you input the information. So obviously here for me is replace industry subreddits. Again, these are the ones I'm following at the moment. We're looking for roughly 20 posts per subreddit. We're looking for question starters. How do, how can, how should I, how would I, all questions. And you're looking for things that you can actually target pain points. Again, pain indicators, exclusion patterns. Now this is a key one. I created, I built, I made, I'm offering. These are things I'm not interested in because I don't want websites, domains, things like that coming up, people self-promoting. So that's one of the key things there. So yeah, that is pretty much 90% of what it'll do there. Obviously goes into all the data and how it's worked out, filtering, categorization, content title generation. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see, can this actually run now? I haven't tested it since I turned it off and turned it back on, so I'm hoping it kind of works for me. So again, we open up Claude, and pretty much what we want to do is we want to run this entire system. So I've moved the camera, so hopefully you can see the actual screen of what's happening here. On the left hand side of the screen at the moment, there's not really much happening. On the right is the key thing here. It's pretty much going through it. Read the document how the Reddit scraper works. It's pretty much going through the entire lot of it. Again, install, it's all after doing that. So I already see the first problem here that I'm running into. So it's already trying to read that entire guide here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pause this. I'm going to come back, and I think the problem here is because it's after trying to grab two different MD files that it's working with. Right, so I'm back again. Pretty much found out that I don't want to delete the actual builder here because this is the one that's inside the community. And all I've done here is just trying to give it a bit of a command to see, can it work it and ignore this one. Again, this is probably 90% of the things you can do to get rid of it or to get away from these problems. So again, yes, got it. The system's already built and configured. Let me install dependencies to run the scraper. Install this, run the Reddit scraper, and from there it builds it based on the way we want it, and I want it for my own one. So yeah, so while that's populating, what I'll do is, again, if you're interested in learning more about all this stuff, you can jump on over here to the school community. Again, I only started to build this out only recently. I go through this in the video library of all the videos I make. I pretty much give a detailed breakdown of how this can be implemented, I suppose, into, if you can see it, an accounting firm. I've discussed about it in here. I go through all that information here, breakdown, presentation done on it as well. So it's a lot of different ways to actually, you know, take on board the information that I'm trying to share with everyone. So we jump back over here. We want to make sure this keeps working. I should have yes to the whole lot of it there now, and this is going to pretty much work away for us, and hopefully by the end I'll have a completely populated Notion. And what I'm going to do is pause this again here, and while this is working, and hopefully come back by the time it's finished. Okay, so that took about 5 minutes in total, and pretty much had a few errors there that was coming up. It was rate limit. I think I might have set this too high, and I might have to go back and look on this again, but I think from what I can gather, it has changed it. It has uploaded to your Notion database 39 new content IDs with pain points, categories, and the whole lot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump on over to Notion just to see, did we get the actual things and did everything work out. So we jump over Notion, there you have it. Again, what I'll do is make myself disappear, and now you can see we pretty much have everything that we wanted in it. We have pretty much pain points, categories, our own content idea. Needs a little bit of tweaking, I think, because it does seem to repeat itself here. Solution snippet, I think this is just post comments, kind of like a summary of the comments in general. You can see some have no comments, but the pain point, how are small local business keeping ad creatives fresh without burning time? Again, for me personally, now I can talk about this, maybe use AI, how AI can step in, how we can use AI images and things like that. Low LinkedIn connection, assets, product, pricing seem good. What could be wrong? Again, something that you could dive into it if you know what you're talking about. Explain it a bit more in detail, and it doesn't mean you have to go and reply to it. However, if you wanted to, the link is there. You can just click the link and go straight to it. So again, how are small local businesses? And if we click this one up here, how are small local business keeping ad creators fresh without burning time? You can see here a few days, 5 days ago, and pretty much that's there. And we have the entire roughly 39, I presume, here. How did you start your first business, and what tools helped most? So again, for me, I could create a post on that and pretty much show people and talk about different tools that can help your business as you're starting out. So look, that is pretty much how you do it. There is some hiccups obviously I had along the way, but again, as I said, I prefer to show the hiccups and the problems that you have running the things as well, because not everything is plain sailing for you. But one of the key things to remember is building things like this. One of the best ways to do it is like this, because what happens is it's allowing to build it the way you want. Build systems that suit you. So again, you might see ways that you can tweak this for your own business, which could be completely different. But again, there is an opportunity there, and like at the end of the day, you have now potentially 39, nearly 40 different problems that people are having, and it allows you to really hone in and target your content in different ways. Instead of me creating this one of why people are using Instagram or using AI images, now you have a completely different angle. You can target, I suppose, how our small local business keeping ad creatives fresh without burning time. Again, it allows you now to really dive into it from a different point of view. So look, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you understand a little bit of what I was talking about. Again, as I mentioned, I'm not a dev. I have no idea about code and things like that. I just hope that it helps people understand what can actually be built, and these are systems and tools that I'm building myself. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day.